Hey writer friends, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Holly. I'm a writer aspiring to be a published author. And in today's video, I have part 2 of my self-editing series, How to Prepare for Beta Readers. If you missed part 1 on how to edit your first draft, I will link that down below. And if you want to know where to find beta readers and critique partners to recruit, I have a whole video for that. I will link that down below as well. So these tips are going to be helpful for you no matter where you are in your editing process, whether you've just edited your first draft, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, it's all going to be good. Just a disclaimer, this is my process that works for me, so I'm just sharing it in the hopes that it will work for all of you. Okay, so first things first, I want to get into about how many beta readers I recruit. So my ideal number is about 4 to 5 betas. With this amount, I've got enough opinions where I can see trends in the feedback, but there's not too many where I feel overwhelmed with all of the feedback that I'm receiving. Also, that I don't feel like I have so many betas that half of them are just going to be saying the same things. With that said, if I want 4 to 5 betas, I actually recruit 7 to 8 betas. Sometimes a beta will get busy and they're not able to give you feedback on your manuscript, and so they drop out. So you want to have enough betas recruited so that you have a substantial amount of feedback if a couple people bow out. So for the Celestial Code's third draft, I actually posted maybe 2 weeks before I needed those betas. I posted both on Instagram, Twitter, and in a small private writers Facebook group. And so I asked people, who wants to beta read TCC? When you're asking if people want to be your betas, you want to include the title, the genre, and any subgenres that you have, a small blurb or elevator pitch for your manuscript, and then the estimated time frame you want feedback. So I like to take into consideration if there are any close writer friends who are interested, looking into anyone who has shown interest in your manuscript from the hype that you have built up, and of course just strangers that you do trust. So whether that includes sensitivity readers, if you have any sensitive topics, or are including LGBTQ representation, and then also taking into consideration age and gender. I found that it is very easy for me to find 20, 30-year-old white females, so I tried to branch out, get some guys in there, get some younger kids. It's harder to find the younger kids, I found, but I figure, okay, if I'm getting these adults who are into young adult to like the books, I'm sure that teens will too. But if you can find teens, that would be ideal. Of course, that's if you're writing for young adult. If you're writing for adult, you want to find that adult audience. If you're writing for middle grade, you want to find some middle grade and YA readers. So for me, I like to give my betas about a month to return their feedback. Why is that? Because 1 month is really all they should need. Typical manuscripts range between 60 and 100K, so you want to take into consideration your word count when you're giving an estimated time frame. So for example, if your manuscript is 100 or 200K, you don't want to give your betas 2 weeks to read them because they're probably going to be bowing out because that's just not enough time. Plus, you want to give your readers time to give you critical feedback and be looking at your manuscript, scrutinizing it with a critical eye. You don't want them to rush that. But on the flip side, if you give them more than 1 month, they likely don't need that. If you give them 2 months, they probably won't even start looking at it until that last month. And plus, then it will take them longer to get that feedback back to you. And you want to get going, come on, time is money. Oftentimes, my betas will return thorough notes to me in 1 to 3 weeks. It really depends. Some people just breeze through it, depending on their schedule, and other people take the whole time that I asked for. And that's okay if they wait until the deadline. It's also okay to give an email nudge to the readers who have not responded to you or have not given you any feedback within the time frame that you wanted. For the people who didn't give me their feedback early, usually a couple days before the deadline, I give them that little email nudge, just asking them, hey, how's beta reading going? Just want to remind you that this is when I wanted the feedback. So I will show you my email nudge that I sent out, and it was actually on the day that it was supposed to be due. So I said, hey, just wondering if you finished with feedback. I'm going to start editing TCC for NaNoWriMo. If you're not done yet, that's okay too. But if you could send me the first 5 chapters or something, that'd be great. Thanks again. So I'm kind of just being friendly, but like just a friendly nudge, just saying, hey, wanted to make sure you didn't forget about me. You know, give me a little bit of what you have if you want so I can get started. Since we're on the topic of emails, sorry, I'm kind of going backwards a little bit, but once you have gathered up your crew of beta readers, you want to send them a very good and thorough email. In that email, I like to send them a clean manuscript. So usually it says like beta reader copy or something like that. And then I make sure to include in the document in the upper right hand corner, my last name, the name of the manuscript, and the page number. And this is really important because this is how you're going to need to format your manuscript when submitting to literary agents. And then it also helps give the readers just a sense of where they are to make sure they're not losing their place, and then see how far they are in your manuscript. And because some people give feedback by like page number, then you want to make sure that they have that page number to reference. Of course, make sure to double space your manuscript. Don't use crazy font. That should be a given. Along with attaching my manuscript to my email, I also liked to add a vocabulary list because I am writing a fantasy / light sci-fi. I always forget to add the light sci-fi part, but it is light sci-fi. But I like to add that because there are all of these words that I made up, and no one this time around, thankfully for the third draft, said that they were confused by anything. And so I don't know if that vocabulary list helped because I didn't have that for people who read the second draft. Sorry guys. But if my betas wanted to refer back to a word or clarify something, then they had that vocabulary guide to look back on. Pronunciation guides are also helpful too if you have like these crazy words, and you hopefully shouldn't have like words that are too hard to pronounce, but I know sometimes that can happen, especially with Lucci. I realized that a lot of people thought her name was Lucy or Lucky sometimes, and I was like, oh, I should probably add that in there. So now I have Kendra, her best friend. Pretty early on in my manuscript, she screams, Lucci, and I have it like drawn out. So I'm like, because I have her nicknames as Lou and Luch, but it didn't really click for some people. So hopefully it's not a whole like Hermione thing where like people are like, I thought it was Hermione. So I'm like, okay, I should be okay with Lucci. But you want to watch out for those things just in case. Okay, so on to the email. I will show you the email that I sent to my beta readers for the third draft. And I said that it would be ready October 1st. I actually sent it on September 26th because I finished a couple days early, which is amazing. But I always like to do that because then it's like, oh, then that gives them a little bit of extra time to get me that feedback. But I said, hello, I finally finished the third draft of the Celestial Code and it is now ready for feedback. Thank you so much for your interest in beta reading TCC. As a reminder, this is the first of a 6-book series and is an 83,000 word YA urban fantasy. My deadline for feedback is October 31st. That way I can start edits during NaNoWriMo. I usually let people give feedback in their own way. Through track changes in Microsoft Word or feedback at the end of each chapter works best for me. I have not gone through line-by-line edits for TCC yet, as I want to make sure the overall plot and character arcs are okay, but I tried to catch any glaring grammar mistakes. If you find anything that really bothers you, feel free to point it out. With this draft, I want to know what's working and what's not. What did you love and what's confusing? If you found any plot holes, etc. And of course, did you enjoy it? I've learned throughout the years to have tough skin when receiving feedback. Please remember to be constructive in your criticism. If something needs to be fixed, please tell me why so I can understand where you're coming from. And as much as I want to know what I need to change, I want to know what you loved so that I make sure to keep those parts in. Smiley face. I want to make TCC the best it can be, and I hope you fall in love with these characters and this world as much as I have. Please send me any questions or concerns you have now or along the beta reading process. I appreciate you taking the time to help me on my journey towards becoming a published author. Holly. And then I put PS, I've attached a vocabulary list for you as well. Enjoy! So as you can see, I kind of reminded people a little bit about TCC and the deadline. I also said how I like to receive feedback, but I was pretty open for how they wanted to give it to me. Some people use their own feedback forms, some people use track changes, and others just wrote little paragraph chunkers at the end of each chapter. And then still some people just write down chapter or page numbers and just give me an email and just send it all in the body of the email. So you can be very specific if you want whatever works for you, but I like to give people whatever way works best for them, and for me any way works. And then the most important thing is I also said what I wanted. For this third draft, I had implemented developmental changes, those big picture changes from the second draft, but I wanted to make sure, were those changes good? Are there any more big picture changes that I need to make? So I wanted to look at big picture changes this time around. And then of course you want to remind people to give you constructive criticism, not just criticism. Don't say all the reasons why you don't like this. If you think this needs to be changed, tell me why. I want to know the reasoning behind it. And then of course to say, what did you love, so that I know to keep that in, because you want to make sure that you're on the right track with things. So as feedback is returned to me, I take a deep breath, I dive right in, and I read them. Oh, well, you guys, I gotta stop there. This video is way too long. But don't worry, in next Sunday's video, I will be sharing all about how to incorporate that beta feedback. All right, you guys, so that's it for this video. Let me know in the comments down below how you recruit beta readers and what time frame you give them. Please give this video a thumbs up to support my channel, and I will see you guys next time. Bye. Plus, you want to give your betas enough time to give you that critical creed back. Wow. Wow. All right, you guys, so that's it for this video. Let me know in the comments down below how you recruit. All right, you guys, so that's it for this video. Let me know in the comments down below how you recruit? Really? Come on, recruit betas. It's not that hard.